Howdy, my name is Nonat, and a few weeks ago I put out this tweet into the cesspool that is Twitter. I wanted to hear all about your terrible hot takes when it comes to the Pathfinder 2e system, so I could make this video discussing them and why I think you're wrong and I'm right with my bulbous brain. So we're gonna do exactly that. But before we get into the heat of the video, have you joined the mailing list for the Sinclair's Library Kickstarter? Sinclair's Library is a Kickstarter that'll be launching in early March, where we are releasing 2 brand new supplemental books to the Pathfinder 2e system. One for GMs, one for players. Sinclair's Codex is going to be a great tool for GMs with over 150 unique NPCs that you can pull and plug into your campaign at a moment's notice. Every single NPC comes with a full name, backstory, stat block, and optional plot hooks you can use to integrate them right into your story. Meanwhile, the Almanac has over 120 unique player options, everything from new classes to new ancestries to magic items and more, even including brand new systems like cursed archetypes. Ever wanted a mechanical way to track things like lycanthropy and vampirism? Well, you will have it in Sinclair's Almanac. So check out the link in the description to go to our landing page where you can sign up to be alerted right when the Kickstarter goes live. And we have a new bonus. If you sign up for the mailing list and you pledge to the Kickstarter within the first 48 hours, you will get your own free Liliana Bandit Dice Set. Look at these dice, look how cool these dice are, and they are free as long as you sign up for the mailing list and pledge within 48 hours of the Kickstarter's launch. So don't waste any time, sign up for the mailing list and get ready to pledge to get an amazing supplement to truly enhance your Pathfinder 2e experience. Now, let's discuss disgustingly hot takes. Starting off by Easy Does It, White Room Theorycrafting poisons the well for discussions about the game. Yes, absolutely, I couldn't agree more, it is terrible. And I can't help it because I'm part of the problem. When I review things in like my deep dives, I do so in a complete vacuum. I'll analyze a feat, and just because of the way it's described, it will sound so crazy overpowered, and my dog is digging in her bed. Ka? Can you not? Can you not, though? Okay, thanks. Theorycrafting in a vacuum does no good for the system or really for your table. Sure, as much as I love to complain that the fighter has a 10% higher hit chance and crit chance, that is in a vacuum. The dice are going to determine what happens. The situation is going to determine what happens. If that fighter has a great sword and all the enemies are 500 feet away, he can't do anything about it. Just because you White Room Theorycraft for max damage and optimum builds, it means nothing in actual practice at the table. So yes, I absolutely agree that White Room Theorycrafting is horribly toxic, and I'm probably going to continue doing it because I don't even mean to when I talk about it. And this isn't to naysay people who do Theorycraft in a vacuum, because it's fun. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but there's a lot of toxicity that comes out of telling people they're wrong because their build is suboptimal. If you complain because your ally's build is like -1 lower on their attack rolls than they could be, what's wrong with you? This is a role-playing game first and foremost. Like, you can argue about the logistics and the mechanics and the odds all you want, but even if you have +2 over your allies, if you roll garbage and they roll fire, guess what? Logic and vacuum theorycrafting isn't gonna help you. Josh Scorcher says that Paizo should be making more subclass options rather than full-blown classes, and I couldn't agree more. I know I said I was gonna disagree with all these hot takes, but honestly, these are 2 really strong ones to start on. We now have, with the addition of the Gunslinger and the Inventor, 20 unique classes to choose from, and all of their subclasses. Honestly, Paizo, that's enough. Give us some more subclasses. Give us a 3rd cleric domain, or doctrine, whatever it's called. Please. They've released a few things here and there, some new monk stances, a couple new druid orders, but we need more subclasses all around. We got, what, the Mastermind for the rogue in the APG, and nothing much since then. The Bard only has 4 subclasses. We don't need entirely new things like the Thaumaturge. I think instead we need to focus on expanding the classes that already exist, or adding those cool class archetypes that they have been playing with. It's so cool, like the spell shot, which I forgot to cover in my gunslinger class. There's so much to be done to the base classes, all 20 existing classes. Some of them really need some love, and I think they deserve it, instead of just releasing 40 unique classes, some of which will likely just end up as better options than other existing classes. Alex says that skills feel shallow in 2nd edition compared to 1st edition because they wanted to reduce bloat. I can see where you're coming from. Having just gotten off of playing through all of Kingmaker and currently playing Wrath of the Righteous, I can see why some people have fun with like a plus 13 persuasion at level 3. In Pathfinder 2nd edition, without any kind of magic or boosts or anything, I think the highest you could have at level 3 in persuasion is going to be like plus 9, whereas you can blow that out of the water with skill-enhancing feats and equipment in 1st edition. I don't think this is inherently a bad thing, and this hot take is honestly mildly warm at best. If you liked bigger numbers to make your skills feel more impactful, 1st edition does have more of that. 2nd edition does make skills feel a lot more even, where as long as you're trained in enough of them, they're all going to be very similar aside from your modifier, with maybe a plus 2 or 4 if you're expert or master. I will also fully admit that there's something of disbelief in, oh, I've had a plus 1 to my survival since level 1, but I'm level 9 now, and now I'm trained, so now I have a plus 11 to it. Actually, I think it'd be plus 12. So gaining plus 11 to your survival skill just from putting trained proficiency into it, it's a little bit of a stretch, but you know, it's a TTRPG system. The same could be said about D&D 5e's proficiency system, the number's just not as big. It's really an issue with proficiency systems as a whole, not just Pathfinder 2e, and it harkens back to 3.5 in 1st edition Pathfinder, where there were skill ranks. Now, my big issue with skill ranks is it required you to put a lot of forethought into your build, and rather than getting kinda decent at a lot of things, you were really forced, especially if you weren't a rogue or a high intelligence class, you were basically forced to say, I'm good at 3 things. That's it. I leveled up, I'm putting skill points into those 3 things and nothing else. Whereas in Pathfinder 2e, you're able to kind of diversify yourself a little bit better, and you don't need to commit your entire leveling scheme to stealth just to be decent at it. Mario Sack says, if Pathfinder is so good, how come it took them 2 times to find the path? If D&D is so good, why did it take them 5 times to dungeon the dragon? Roll credits! Spellblade's hot take is that magic users having so many options but being a little weaker than a martial straight attack is good balance. And I know a ton of people hate this, but I personally like it. A spellcaster has so much flexibility compared to a fighter that their spells should be a little less accurate. They already do a good deal more damage, especially area of effect spells like Fireball. Yeah, the chance of it failing should be a little bit higher than a fighter swinging a greatsword. Sure, the fighter does do a lot of damage with that greatsword very consistently, but he's hitting for what? 3d10 plus 10? If you use Fireball on 8 enemies, that's like 30d6. Probably more because I'm tired and math is hard. Spellblade honestly puts it best that D20 spellcasters have been in a crazy powerful place for so long that now that fighters have sort of caught up to them, not martial class as a whole, not just fighters, now that they've caught up to them in damage numbers, it's kind of intimidating for those longtime spellcasters to just be like, oh, maybe we're not top dog. I'm at a 3.5 campaign right now, and I honestly think about how my current fighter hits for like 2d6 plus 3, whereas my old wizard of the same level could lightning bolt for 6d6 on multiple targets, and it was the same number of actions. It just didn't feel good. Vec the Goblin hits a nail on the head, that the amount of time it takes to craft something should be related to its level compared to your level. I love their example that in no universe should it take the same amount of time for someone to craft a bundle of 10 arrows and an Armageddon orb. But yes, if you are level 20 and you have a legendary crafting skill and you want to make a bundle of arrows, it will take you 4 days. If you want to make a Philosopher's Stone It will take you 4 days! This needs to be changed. And by the way, there will be rules for expedited crafting and the like in Sinclair's Almanac, so if you're interested and you like crafting things, maybe you should check out the Kickstarter! O Canario says, without online tools to help, the math in Pathfinder 2e is dog water. Dude, I know. What is it in D&D 5e? Strength plus proficiency bonus is your total bonus? God, I mean, look how complicated it is in Pathfinder 2e. Strength plus proficiency bonus is your... Wait. I'm so tired of this comparison. The only thing you're adding over your proficiency bonus in 2e is your level. And if adding 7 to your number is really difficult for you, like, no shade, some people are bad at math, that's nothing to be ashamed of, but like, so many people are like, I can't play Pathfinder, I'm not a physicist, and I'm like, is basic addition physics? I won't lie that the numbers are bigger in Pathfinder 2e, but the math is not harder, because once you've done all the numbers on your sheet, you've written attack bonus +8 on your sheet. It's not like, oh man, I need to attack that goblin, so I need to take my strength. I'm trained, so that's +2. Oh, what level am I? Level 5? Okay, so that's 5. But what was my strength again? Oh, there's so many numbers! No, it's my strength is 4, my proficiency is 2, I'm level 2. So that's +8. I write +8 under my attack, and now when I attack, I go, oh, it's +8. Kodra says that casters lagging behind in proficiency and not getting an item bonus to spell attack rolls feels terrible in the mid-game. I don't disagree. The mid-game, especially before they've hit master proficiency in their spellcasting, spellcasters do fall behind. But you need to get creative as a spellcaster. No longer can you just use Scorching Ray and Acid Arrow and expect to get away with it. There is a reason that recall knowledge is a prominent feature in the game. You need to figure out what you're fighting, what they're weak to, or even what their lowest saving throw is. If their lowest saving throw is reflex, try a fireball. If their lowest saving throw is will, try dominate person or something. You need to get creative. The reason that they've held spellcasters back is because it was so easy to just use the same spell for every situation. So yes, casters falling behind is true. It does happen. But remember, they still have the flexibility, they still have so many options of spells. Meanwhile, the fighter has one weapon they're really good with, and maybe a bow on backup. Lord Blake says, giving the fighter and gunslinger +2 to hit over other martials is a really lazy way of showing martial superiority. I don't disagree. It does feel lackluster. It feels like there should be something special that gets them ahead. Now, part of this comes with just the way math is done in Pathfinder 2e, and that proficiency bump does feel good for those classes, but it kind of feels bad that it's right from the get-go. I've covered it in my fighter analysis video if you'd like to go back and watch that, but I do prefer the way in Pathfinder 1st edition, fighters slowly got better, starting at level 5, then 9, 13, they get a +1 over everyone else, starting at 5, and that culminates into a massive +4, but getting +2 from the start of the game feels kind of bad. I think it would even feel better if it was a +1 at level 1, which increased to a +2 at level 11. I think that would have been fine. Getting that little +1 would feel great. People do argue that that's all the fighter does, so that they might need something else, and maybe that's true. Maybe some extra combat feats at lower levels would be cool. Really make the fighter feel like that arms master right from early on without having to wait till level 9, but that's a story for another day. I don't disagree with +2 feeling lazy. I do think there could have been a better way to handle it. And those are all the hot takes I have time for today. Some not super spicy ones. I found myself agreeing with a lot of them, but don't worry. Do you see how many comments this post has? There are plenty more to go, and I will be doing this again. And if you have any hot takes that you would like to see me react to in a video like this, leave them down in the YouTube comments. Come on, boil my blood, really get under my skin. This was a lot of tame takes, and I know you guys can ramp it up even higher. So leave a comment down below with your spicy hot Pathfinder 2e take. In the meantime, don't forget to click the link in the description to check out the Kickstarter for Sinclair's library, sign up for the mailing list to get noted right when it goes live, and don't forget, if you sign up for the mailing list and you pledge within the first 48 hours, you get a complete bonus dice set, complete with dice bag, completely for free. So don't waste your time, sign up now, pledge when it goes live. Thank you all so much. Huge shout out to my patrons for supporting me in everything I do, keeping the lights on, and helping me do cool stuff like these videos and the Kickstarter. And thank you so much for watching, and of course for liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, no nat ones.